Welcome, everyone, to your full moon in Gemini Tarotscopes for your full moon on November 27th, 2023. So this full moon in Gemini on November 27th will be at 4 degrees Gemini. So you want to find out where 4 degrees of Gemini falls in your chart, as that is where you are completing a cycle. That's where there's celebration. So you want to look at where 4 degrees of Gemini falls in your chart and really celebrate your accomplishments in that life area. Now, the sun is opposite the moon, as it always is under a full moon, but this time our sun is conjunct Mars. So we have the sun in Sagittarius at 4 degrees conjuncting Mars at 2 degrees. That's only a 2-degree orb. So that means that the sun and Mars are together, firing up the sun, giving us extra courage, drive, and initiative in the area where you have Sagittarius in your chart at 4 degrees. Meanwhile, we have Saturn at 0 degrees Pisces, which is making a 90-degree angle to not just the full moon in Gemini, but also to the sun and Mars. Now, Saturn has to do with discipline, restriction, and responsibility. So wherever you have Saturn in your chart, you need to pay attention. You need to definitely honor that area and make sure that you're being responsible. So we're completing a cycle wherever we have the full moon in Gemini in our chart. We're taking action wherever the sun and Mars in Sagittarius falls in our chart. And we're making sure that Saturn in Pisces, wherever Saturn in Pisces falls in your chart, you're letting them be the boss. You're letting that be #1 priority, or at least have a really big say in the decisions that you make. And I'll explain what this means for every single sign. So Aries, happy full moon in Gemini, Aries. So you are completing a 3rd house cycle. Okay, this is a full moon in your 3rd house, which has to do with communications. It has to do with mindset, short distance travels, siblings, your communications. So you're wrapping up communications and ideas and determining what you want to do next with your brain. It's also a good time to really make sure that your mind is set on what you want and that your mindset is all taken care of. You want to just make sure that you're thinking about what you want, not what you don't want. You just want to make sure your brain is set on the ideal scenario, because we get in life what we concentrate on. There's no other main rule. Meanwhile, the sun and Mars in Sagittarius are in your 9th house. So you want to embrace adventures and learning. The 9th house is being fired up in your chart. So make sure that you're taking action when it comes to 9th house activities. Maybe you want to expand. Maybe you want to grow. Maybe you want to publish or broadcast. Maybe you want to go on a foreign trip. Maybe you want to expand your philosophy. Maybe you want to learn a new subject. Do it. So definitely take action wherever Mars and the sun in Sagittarius fall in your chart this full moon. Meanwhile, the boss is Saturn in Pisces, and that is in your 12th house. So this full moon for you is going to be very important that you get your subconscious aligned with your ideals. Saturn in Pisces in your 12th house is suggesting that at this time, you need to work out self-limiting beliefs and get rid of them in order to achieve your goals. So you may want to see a limiting belief as a weed, right? And you want to see yourself pulling it up by its weed and implanting something new, a new belief that is empowering to you. But make sure that you double down on your self-care this full moon. Don't give yourself the luxury of a negative thought, and really leverage affirmations, vision boards, meditation, because your subconscious is really in charge this full moon. So let's see, Aries, what wisdom from the tarot you get this full moon. You'll be on your way celebrating. Wisdom for Aries this full moon. Wisdom for Aries this full moon. Wisdom for Aries this full moon. Whoa, perfect. 9 of Cups. So you get your wish, Aries. Be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. 9 of Cups does suggest that you're going to have a lot of happiness. So be sure to do whatever it is that you can to make yourself happy. The 9 of Cups because it's a 9, it harkens back to the Hermit card. So it's all about doing whatever it is that you can to feel really good, just yourself. Like, you're going to make yourself happy. Don't worry about making other people happy. Like, do whatever it is that you can to really indulge and have a really great time. You might want to imagine what it would feel like if your wish, your greatest wish or wishes came true, because that is highly likely this full moon cycle. So happy full moon in Gemini, Aries. Taurus. So Taurus, you've got this full moon in Gemini in your second house, which you like because you guys like money. Second house is about money. So it's time for you to finalize your financial decisions. It's also a good time for you to determine what your values are. Are there old values that are no longer relevant that you've been still adhering to? Are there new up-to-date values that you have? Also, are there some gifts and talents and skills that you have that you could explore and express? Because the second house also has to do with your talents, your skills, your abilities. Your talent has to do with how you make money. So this is a really great full moon for you to express yourself in different ways to increase your bank balance. Now you got Mars and the Sun both in your 8th house of transformation. So you want to take action when it comes to making changes in your life, right? You want to definitely explore 8th house issues, which have to do with intimacy. It has to do with joint enterprises. So this might be a time in which you decide to set a boundary or dissolve a boundary, because the 8th house is about boundaries. So you're taking action in terms of boundaries. Maybe something's making you feel really great and you're thinking, hey, if I get a little bit closer, I'm going to feel even better. Or you're like, okay, yeah, this makes me feel bad. I'm not going to do that anymore. Therefore, you would set a boundary, but you want to take some kind of action in terms of boundaries. And you also want to get more comfortable with yourself emotionally, right? You want to get more intimate and take action toward intimacy, not only with others, but first and foremost with yourself. How do you really feel about things? An 8th house transit can be pretty emotional. So if you need to have a good cry, go for it, because you're letting go. You're taking action when it comes to letting go. And the boss in your chart, this full moon, well, it's your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, and your goals. You need to honor them. And you also want to honor your friends and your community. That actually might be a great place for you to take action, to join a club or spend more time with your friends, because that energy is going to help inform the next stage of your journey. And also, of course, if I didn't mention this, you got to make sure that your hopes and your dreams are front of mind. Like, what are you here for? What really makes you happy, or what will make you really, really happy? You got to make sure that wherever that Saturn in Pisces falls in your chart, you're honoring your highest hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals. So let's see, Taurus, what wisdom you get from the tarot this full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus, wisdom for Taurus. 5 of Swords. So 5 of Swords is not the greatest card, not going to lie. 5 of Swords essentially is about a few things. One, don't fear defeat. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. However, if you feel somebody is crossing your boundaries or is not playing fair, you've got to go for the win-lose result. You've got to protect yourself and maintain self-interest. So be intuitive. Your body, Taurus, is very, very sensitive, so it's not going to lie to you. If you're dealing with a situation, be it a work situation, romantic situation, friend situation, whatever, and your body is like, no, listen to your intuition. And if you feel that something is not good for you, or if somebody could be undermining you with 5 of Swords, you've got to protect yourself and maintain self-interest. But again, if your body is not giving you any of those signals, maybe you're just being fearful of defeat. Maybe you just need to let go a little. So determine whether or not you're being paranoid and you need to be more trusting, or if every cylinder is being fired off not to trust this person or not to do this again. Whatever it might be, take the advice of 5 of Swords. Either chill out or protect yourself. And happy full moon. Gemini, happy full moon in your sign, Gemini. So you're completing a cycle when it comes to your identity. What are you releasing? What are you letting go of? What no longer is you? If you want a new personal reality, you create a new personality. But in addition to that, you need to celebrate your personal achievements. This is your full moon, Gemini. So think about what you've achieved and what you want to achieve next. And also consider what parts of your personality, they're not really you anymore. You got to drop this aspect of your personality. You got Sagittarius, Mars, and Sun in your 7th house of partnership. So definitely take action in terms of your partnerships. Maybe you need to spend more time with your honey. Maybe you need to find a honey, right? You want to fortify your partnerships and take action in regard to them. Maybe it's a matter of initiating date night with your husband, or maybe it's a matter of getting out there more and finding a good partner. Now, the 7th house doesn't just have to do with romantic partnerships. It also could be a long one-on-one connection, a long-term one-on-one connection, like a best friend forever or a consultant that you really, really enjoy working with. But think about where it is that you could pair up with someone, partner up with someone, and take action in that area as that is lit up in your chart. Meanwhile, Saturn and Pisces is in your 10th house, Gemini. So your 10th house has to do with your career. With Saturn there, you've got to be responsible professionally. Do whatever it is that you can to make sure that your career is in a good space. Because with Saturn there, if you're focusing on your career and being responsible in that realm, the other areas of your life are going to be okay. They're going to be better, right? So honor the boss, Saturn, with that 10th house sun. And let's see what wisdom you get from the tarot, Gemini, for your full moon in your sign. Wisdom for Gemini, 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 wisdom for Gemini. Woo! You got the 8 of Wands, Gemini. You know what this means? It means you got to take action. Action, action, action. So the 8 of Wands, it's about things happening really, really, really quickly. And it's about moves that you might need to make in order to catch up, right? So strike while the iron is hot. There's probably going to be a lot of information coming your way over the next 2 weeks. So your energy might be spread out a little bit too much. So do what you can to just focus. But the big point with the 8 of Wands is that when things are on a roll, you want to just keep them going. Like this might be a time in which big things can happen, big things can be concluded. So decide what you're concluding in your life right now and strike while the iron is hot. Make your moves to expand and grow, because this sign aligns with Sagittarius, specifically Mercury in Sagittarius. So be really clear with what you want and go after your goals. And happy full moon in your sign. Cancer. Happy full moon in Gemini, Cancer. So this full moon is hitting your 12th house. So you need to nest and rest. I think you might like that idea. The 12th house has to do with your subconscious and making sure that you are not subconsciously believing something that is not advantageous to you. For instance, say you want to fall madly in love. If you have a belief, a subconscious belief that you're not lovable, well, that's going to make falling in love a problem. Same thing if you don't think that you're worthy on a subconscious level. That's going to make it challenging for you to find more money. So do whatever it is that you can to honor your subconscious mind. And what I mean by that is if you think that you have a negative belief, you want to imagine pulling it out from its roots and replacing it with something else, i.e., I'm very lovable. You would replace with the opposite. Or I'm very valuable and I have a lot to offer the world and it's an abundant universe, and that'll offset any scarcity. But definitely get your sleep over the next 2 weeks, some extra sleep for you, Cancer. Meanwhile, you're taking action in regard to your 6th house. Your 6th house has to do with your daily routines, your daily regimes, what you do on a day-to-day basis, the daily grind. And a lot of times that has to do with work, also exercise, diet, your habits. So you want to take action when it comes to sixth house activities. So maybe it's a matter of you really need to get ahead in terms of work, you're behind schedule, or maybe it's a matter of like, okay, I absolutely need to get into better shape. I need to watch my diet. This is a really good time for you to cultivate new habits that will get you in the better lifestyle that you want to have. So for instance, if you want to feel better, this could be a really great time to make sure you're going to sleep earlier or working out or adjusting your diet. It's also a good time for you to make sure that all your ducks are in a row when it comes to your work, your job. And the boss, well, the boss is Saturn in Pisces, which is in your 9th house. So what you need to do while you're doing all this stuff, you're getting extra sleep with completion, you're moving forward in terms of work and fitness and diet, stuff like that. But what does it mean on a bigger level? The 9th house is from a big picture perspective. So you want to look at your life from a bird's eye view. What are your big beliefs, right? What is it that you believe about the world? What is your life philosophy? Because that life philosophy, once you nail that down, you completing a cycle in your 12th house and taking action in your 6th is going to make things easier. So think about your worldview and also consider how you might expand your mind. Do you need to go on a trip to a foreign country? Do you need to take a class? Do you need to do some in-depth reading? Because expanding your mind is going to make things so much easier for you. So let's see, Cancer, what card you get for your full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer, wisdom for Cancer. Two of Swords. So Two of Swords essentially is about making decisions without the interference of the emotions. Now, Cancers have to do this all the time because if they waited until they felt like doing something, they probably would get nothing done. So you have to sometimes Two of Swords a situation. And what I mean by that is, okay, for instance, use this example. You wake up in the morning, right? You have a big meeting, right? A big meeting at work. So you go outside and you have a flat tire and you have to change your tire and your white shirt that you're wearing gets all greasy and whatnot. And you show up to the meeting and you're late. Well, of course you want to like crumble. Like you had the flat tire, you're late, you cared a lot about this presentation, you look like a mess. But what do? You got to Two of Swords situation. You got to put your emotions aside and carry on, right? You got to just do it. You got to perform. You got to show up and do what you said you were going to do. Same thing in terms of what's going on for you this cycle. There might be certain things that are really bothersome. You need to just make sure that you're setting your emotions aside for the time being and making logical, rational choices without your emotions interfering. So keep that in mind, Cancer, and happy full moon in Gemini in your 12th house. Bye. Yo, Leo, happy full moon in Gemini in your 11th house it's hitting, which is really fun. The 11th house has to do with your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, your ideals, your friends, your networks, your community. So enjoy social and team successes. This is a really great time for you to determine how much fun you're having with your crew, your group, your friends, and doing what you can to make any adjustments that's going to make you even happier in that realm. The other thing with the 11th house is your wildest hopes, dreams, wishes, and ideals. So there are no dangling carrots in the universe, meaning that whatever you want comes with it, the built-in prerequisite ability for you to achieve it. So consider this full moon, how you've been doing on your hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals, and allow yourself to remove blocks to them, right? Think about what you want and release resistance, release any subconscious limiting beliefs that keep you from believing you can have what you want. Planet of action, Mars is in your 5th house, which is really perfect for you because your sign naturally rules or is ruled by the 5th house. So you get to pursue creative and romantic passions. Take action when it comes to whatever lights you up. Do whatever you can to go toward that, right? Make sure that you're having fun and taking action in terms of romance and creativity. If you want to make babies, well, this is a great full moon for it. If you want to have a child, So, and also be careful, of course, if you don't want to have a child. But yeah, this is a really great time for you to pursue any creative or romantic passions. Follow your excitement. The key is to follow your excitement at every moment to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome. So you want to make sure that you're tapping into that play, that magic of not being beholden to a particular outcome. You want to just have fun for the love and fun of it. Meanwhile, you got Saturn in your 8th house, Leo. So it's important for you to really master boundaries and determine where you need to set them and where you need to dissolve them. For instance, if something's making you feel good, you could move in a little bit closer and feel even stronger, feel even better. But if something's making you feel bad, you have to set a boundary to protect yourself. So determine where you need to set or dissolve boundaries based upon what's going to make you stronger. You also want to embrace intimacy with yourself, with other people. Determine, do you want to conjoin resources with somebody else? That, of course, could be sex, right? But it also could be a joint enterprise. Do you want to collaborate with people and blend so you're stronger as a 2 than you would be a 1? That could be really cool. Now let's see, Leo, what card you get for your full moon in Gemini. Some wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo, wisdom for Leo. 7 of Wands. Okay, so 7 of Wands is about taking a stand. It's about sometimes taking an unpopular position. With the 7 of Wands, we're encouraged to feel the fear, but to do it anyway. So go out on a limb. Sometimes in order to really make things happen, you've got to make bold moves, right? Fortune favors the bold or the brave, right? And that's what this is encouraging you. Feel the fear and do it anyway. There's probably something that you know you need to do. You just got to do it. Just got to do it. And get out of your comfort zone a little bit if you can. This full moon, that's another aspect of 7 of Wands. It's going to serve you really, really well to get out of your comfort zone and go out on a limb, take a chance, take a risk, and enjoy your full moon. Virgo, the full moon in Gemini is hitting your 10th house, your career house, status house, how the world sees you. So it's time to really acknowledge what you've achieved professionally. Give yourself a pat in the back, look over your life over the past 6 months and see how far you've come. Meanwhile, you might be completing a cycle professionally. So this might be a time of wrapping things up. You might be getting really clear on your professional goals. So focus on completing stuff professionally. Meanwhile, you got Mars in your 4th house along with the sun. So this full moon cycle, you want to really invest in your emotional security. The 4th house is typically called house of home and family, but really it's whatever makes you feel emotionally secure. That's where you want to take action. This could be going to Target and getting a whole bunch of nice pillows. This could be redecorating. This could be finding a new home. This could be meditating on a regular basis or developing habits that give you a deeper sense of emotional security. It also could be connecting with your relatives and loved ones and really just fostering growth with your familial connections. And that can be your family of choice or family of origin or both. And the boss of your chart, this full moon in Gemini, is in your 7th house. You got Pisces, Saturn and Pisces in your 7th. So you need to be responsible when it comes to your relationships, making sure that you're in the right ones, right? And you want to make sure that you're also balancing, right? Balancing what the other person has done or hasn't done, right? And that means whether they've been awesome or whether they've sucked, you've got to balance it out. You got to be responsible because you're responsible for 50% of every relationship you're in. So keep that in mind. Are you maintaining balanced relationships? And let's see, Virgo, what wisdom from the tarot you get this full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Virgo, wisdom for Virgo, wisdom for Virgo, 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 Virgo. Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles is about maintaining status quo. This is not a very ambitious queen. She really isn't. She is Taurus, right? And Taurus wants two things. They want security, stability, right? But they also want sensuality. They want to feel amazing in their bodies. They want to really enjoy their senses. So the advice here really, Virgo, is keep things stabilized, right? Slow it down, allow yourself to smell the roses, enjoy the finer things in life, and really get in touch with this sense of grounding. Be very, very grateful, of course, with what you have now. And if you can do that, if you can be satisfied and eager for more, and you can feel that way, you can feel satisfied, but eager for more, that's the perfect vibrational space for manifestation. So keep that in mind, enjoy what you've accomplished, and just stabilize things and feel good in your body. Happy full moon. Yo, Libra, happy full moon in Gemini. It's hitting your 9th house of expansion, growth, entrepreneurship. If you're an entrepreneur, it also pertains to foreign travel, learning, publishing, broadcasting. So this is a time for you, Libra, to really expand, to really go far and wide. In the meantime, you also want to recognize your growth and your wisdom and what knowledge you've achieved over the past several months, right? Just understand that you've come a long way and your life philosophy has really grown, and that is going to serve you. How you're looking at life from a big picture perspective. And since that perspective has likely evolved over the past year, you're going to be able to achieve more. So give yourself a pat in the back for learning and growing. You got Sagittarius, Mars, and the Sun in your 3rd house of communication. So there's going to be probably a lot of communications going on, a lot of social activity for you over the next 2 weeks, which makes sense. It's holiday season, right? But you want to take action in terms of that, meaning you want to make sure that you're showing up, that you're going to these social gatherings, and you're also initiating conversations. You want to make sure that you're super clear during this period. You want to take action in regard to the 3rd house. So that means making sure you're initiating conversations, but also developing the right mindset that you need to achieve your goals, right? So not only how are you talking to other people, but most important, how are you talking to yourself? Meanwhile, Saturn in Pisces is in your 6th house of lifestyle. This pertains to work. This pertains to health. This pertains to your daily regimes, what you eat, how you exercise, how much sleep you get. So because Saturn's there, that's where you need to be responsible. So make sure that everything is running smoothly, especially your body. So you might want to get some extra rest. You might want to incorporate more greens into your diet. You might want to incorporate more exercise. You might want to also make sure that things are really buttoned up at work. Just make sure that that is crossed off the list, because you want to feel amazing and you want to have everything in your life running like a well-oiled machine. That's very high priority because that's where Saturn is in your chart, this full moon. So let's see what card you get, Libra, for your full moon in Gemini. Wisdom point, Libra. Wisdom point, Libra. Nice. So, Libra, you get 10 of Cups. This is the happily ever after card. It also is a 10, right? So it's a fulfillment of emotion. You have a lot of emotion going on, and the cross sum of 10 is 1, because 1 plus 0 is 1, right? So you're completing an emotional cycle, but you're also starting a new one. So determine what thoughts you want to think this new moon, this full moon, that are going to make you feel happily ever after. That's going to make you feel the way you want to feel. With 10 of Cups, a big lesson with this card is determine what new emotions you want to experience on a regular basis. What emotions do you want to feel most often, right? And in order to do that, you got to wrap things up. So determine what things you're not going to be spending as much time on, because you are closing an emotional cycle, and determine where you want to flow your energy. So it is a full moon. It is a time of wrapping things up. So there might be certain things that are no longer really relevant. They don't have much heart and meaning for you. If that's the case, wrap them up because you're closing an emotional cycle. And at the same time of wrapping them up, you're determining, oh yeah, here, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to flow my energy. So a new emotional cycle is afoot. Happy full moon, Libra. Scorpio. Scorpio, this full moon in Gemini is hitting your house. The house your sign is connected to, the 8th house of sex, death, intimacy, boundaries, transformation, rebirth. The point of an 8th house transit is transformation for empowerment. You get empowered and you get stronger under an 8th house transit by transforming, by letting go, by allowing yourself to experience a rebirth. So you're more closely connected to your core self, your most authentic self, right? So the 8th house for you, it's really going to be about making sure that you're resolving any shared financial issues or emotional issues with someone. You want to really be honest, right? And the 8th house for all of us, whenever we go through an 8th house transit, but particularly you, it's about boundaries. Where do you set your boundaries and where do you dissolve your boundaries? So if something is making you feel really, really good, maybe you lean in closer and you dissolve your boundaries and you get closer with this person on some level. But if something's making you feel crummy, if something is undermining you, then you need to set a boundary. So with what boundary you set or dissolve, there will be a completion of a cycle for you. Meanwhile, Mars and the Sun in Sagittarius are in your 2nd house. So you want to assert action, your financial independence. You want to make sure that you're holding on to what you have, not just your money, but also your values. If there's certain things that are really, really important to you, you need to make sure you stand strong and assert yourself to protect the values that you have or your resources, if that be the case. And Saturn, well, lucky you, you get Saturn in your 5th house. So you are responsible for making sure you have a lot of fun. Saturn in the 5th is about really taking your fun seriously. What can you do that lights you up? Because if you follow Saturn and you pay attention to what he's telling you, in this instance, explore creative and romantic possibilities, then the other areas of your life are going to have a much easier time falling into place. So be sure to take your fun seriously, Scorpio. Do whatever it is that you can that lights you up, right? It makes you feel really good. And let's see what wisdom from the tarot you get, Scorpio, for your full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio, wisdom for Scorpio. Ace of Swords. Okay, so Ace of Swords is essentially a solution to a problem, right? And because it's an ace, though, you have to do something, right? The aces are all about potential, and the onus is on you to do something. So with Ace of Swords, it's a matter of really the same thinking that got you into your situation can't get you out of it. So what new thoughts do you need to think that are going to align you with your goals better? Remember, the thoughts that we think determine our emotional state. Our emotional state determines what we're broadcasting and therefore attracting. So it's a matter of what old things do you need to stop thinking about and new things. You want to think about the problems that you could have if all your dreams came true. Like, what would be some really great problems to have? And what thinking do you need to have in place to welcome what it is that you desire? For instance, say with the Ace of Swords, you think that there's never enough money. Well, that's not going to help you manifest more money. You got to change that to it's an abundant universe. There's money everywhere. Money never sleeps. Or you want more love. You want to make sure that you're looking at all the love that is in the world, all the people that are happily married and in relationships. You want to just think in a different way that aligns you up better with your goals. And happy full moon, Scorpio. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, this full moon in Gemini is, of course, hitting your 7th house because Gemini is your opposite sign. So you're completing a cycle in your relationships, in your partnerships, your long-term one-on-one partnerships. This is not just your honey bunny, but it could be. It could be your spouse, your significant other, but it also could be your best friend forever. It could be consultants that you have, etc. So you also want to use this time to clarify relations and agreements. Do whatever it is that you can to make sure that you are on the same page with the partners in your life. And do what you can to just stabilize that, right? Clarify your relationships and your agreements. Maybe in terms of your partners, you need to say something that clears the air. There's like a tension. There was some kind of argument. Sagittarians can sometimes be conflict averse. So this might be a good time to smooth things out, right? But most important, Sagittarius, is that you are really asserting your new identity, because you got the sun, you got Mars in your first house. You're going to be feeling your oats. You're probably going to be a lot more fiery than usual. Okay. So when you have Mars in the first, you're going to have a lot more energy. This is great for you. This is great, but you want to make sure that you have a proper outlet. When Mars is in the first, you can get workouts done that you've never gotten done before. You can get way more work done than you ever had previously. So determine where you want to channel all that extra energy, because unfortunately, if you don't have a proper outlet for it, you could be causing trouble. You could be more aggressive or pugnacious than you need to be. And the boss of your chart, well, Saturn in Pisces is in your fourth house. So really the most important thing for you to do is to feel emotionally secure. How can you double down on your self-care? How can you align with the divine mother? How can you nurture yourself better than you've ever been nurtured before? What do you need to do in order to make that happen? Because that's number one. That's first priority, because Saturn is there. So make sure that you're feeling really, really connected and feeling really safe and secure, and that you're also connecting with those people that make you feel secure, right? It's about really honoring your foundations. And let's see, Sagittarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot this full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius, wisdom for Sagittarius. Two of Swords. Okay, so Two of Swords, sometimes this is a blow up that you were trying to avoid, right? Sometimes you need to just blow up, right? Sometimes you need to assert yourself. And with Two of Swords, that could be the case. Otherwise, with Two of Swords, it's a matter of making decisions without the interference of the emotions. So say you have a lot going on and it's really overwhelming. Well, you got to put your emotions aside. Even though you're upset or pissy or overwhelmed, overworked, you've got to just put that aside and just carry on, right? But sometimes with Two of Swords, you need to allow yourself to express yourself. I would just say you can express yourself and assert yourself without blowing a gasket, without going too far. So assert yourself, but don't get too emotional about it. Remember, with Mars and the Sun, both in your sign, you're probably going to come across as a lot more aggressive than you intend to. So be sure to make diplomacy your watchword, but also honor how you feel and make sure that you're communicating how you feel, because you don't want to keep that energy within, right? You don't want to keep anything toxic within. You want to release it in some capacity. So happy full moon, Sagittarius. Yo, Capricorn, happy full moon in Gemini. It's hitting your sixth house. So you're completing a cycle that has to do with your lifestyle, right? You want to make sure that you are honoring your health, honoring your body, honoring your habits, and honoring your job, right? So you're completing a cycle in those areas. You want to perfect your health and your work projects. And you also want to see how far you've come. Maybe you have done a really good job at work, or maybe you've adhered to an exercise or fitness regime, and you need to give yourself some kudos for that, right? So you're completing a cycle when it comes to sixth house activity. Now, you got Mars in your 12th house, along with the Sun. So you need to definitely quiet down the mind. The Mars in your 12th house is not very fun, right? Because Mars, the planet of action, right? Activity. And in your subconscious, you might be overthinking things. So if you're getting more paranoid lately, really know that that's not something that you really need to be worried about. most likely, right? Because you got Mars there, so you're overthinking things. So do whatever it is that you can to calm down the mind. Also, with Mars there, what do you want to focus on to manifest, right? This is a really great time to create a vision board or to do affirmations, do whatever it is that you can to impress upon the subconscious what you want to have happen. Because your subconscious can't differentiate something that you're imagining versus something that happened. And when there's a disparity between what the subconscious imagines and what you're doing and what you have, well, then the subconscious will make moves, right, to help you achieve the end that you envisioned. So visualize what you want and don't overthink things, right? If you find yourself getting neurotic, focus on something that you like. Maybe pet your dog, or listen to some music, or watch a movie that you really enjoy. Now, the boss of your chart, Capricorn, this full moon, where Saturn is, it's in your third house. So it's really about your mindset. How are you talking to yourself, first and foremost, but also, are you being clear with other people? Are you being evasive? Do you need to be really, really concrete and clear with where you stand? Most likely, that is where you need to absolutely step up and have those conversations that are going to give you and the other person in your life more of an understanding of where you stand and what is up. So definitely talk to yourself in a new way, but also talk to other people in a more clear way. And let's see what wisdom you get, Capricorn, for your full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Capricorn, wisdom for Capricorn, wisdom for Capricorn, wisdom for Capricorn. 10 of Cups. So you are completing an emotional cycle. So there's some things in your life that have probably gone bye-bye, or you're about ready to say bye-bye to certain things. That's good. That's good, because you're completing an emotional cycle. You get a 10, which is a height, right? The highest, right? But you're also, the cross sum of 10 is 1. So in the middle of completing this cycle, you're also starting a new one. So you want to determine what makes you happy, right? And the things that don't make you happy, you've got to distance yourself from and move toward those things that are happily ever after. What is going to make you feel emotionally full and contented? And also, you might be completing a cycle with your family as well, because 10 of Cups is a very, very strong family card. So definitely make your travel arrangements, make your phone calls to connect with the people that you love, because the 10 of Cups promises happily ever after, but because it's a full moon cycle, there may be some adjustments that you need to make in order to live happily ever after. So happy full moon, Capricorn. Aquarius. Well, this is a fun little transit for you, Aquarius. The full moon in Gemini is hitting your 5th house of pleasure, joy, fun, whatever lights you up. That's where you're completing. Maybe you've made some really great strides creatively lately, right? Or you found a honey. You found somebody really cool to date. Now, the 5th house does have to do with dating and romance, but it's not the 7th house, i.e., it's not about partnerships per se. You could have a great date with somebody. You have a great 3 days with somebody. You have a great vacation with somebody. You might have somebody in your life you love going to the movies with or dancing with or whatever, but unfortunately, they might not make the best partner in the world. That's okay. You might find somebody who does both, right? That you have a lot of fun with, but you can also be with long term. But now the name of your game is completing a cycle when it comes to dating, romance, fun. We're not putting a ring on it, so to speak, this period for you. However, what you could do if you are in a relationship is get back that spark, that romance. Maybe it's about going on date night with your honey, or maybe it's about reinvigorating that area of your life, that romantic, fun area of your life. You also might be completing a creative project. That should be a lot of fun. Action? Well, you got Sagittarius, Mars, and the Sun in your 11th house. So this is a really good time for you to connect with your tribe, connect with your community that you really, really love. It's also a really good time to go after your highest hopes, dreams, wishes, and goals, right? There are no dangling carrots in the universe, meaning that when you want something, that comes with it the prerequisite built-in ability for you to achieve it. So definitely go after your highest hopes, dreams, wishes, and ideals. Go after the shiniest apples on the tree, because you have a better chance of getting them now because you got a lot of energy in that area of your chart. The boss, though, is your second house, right? Because you get Saturn and Pisces there. So mind your finances. Make sure that your financial life is all buttoned up and you have all your ducks in a row. And also with the second house, make sure that you're honoring your values, because the second house has to do with values. And also be sure to make sure that you are also exploring and really applying your talents, because the second house also has to do with talents. So manage your resources wisely and make sure that you're making decisions based on your values. And let's see, Aquarius, what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Gemini. Wisdom for Aquarius, 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 wisdom for Aquarius. Queen of Cups. So Queen of Cups is all about emotional integrity, right? So this is a time in which you might want to allow yourself to be emotionally vulnerable. There's a strength in vulnerability, and that's what Queen of Cups has. So it's about understanding where other people are coming from and reflecting that back to them. When you look into a body of water, you see your reflection. Same thing with Queen of Cups. When you're looking at her, you see yourself, because she reflects back the emotional truth that you represent. So allow yourself to be honest with yourself and your own emotions, but also be compassionate and caring to other people. You want to really allow yourself perhaps to tap into the emotionality of yourself this transit, perhaps because the full moon will be in Gemini, which is an air sign, and you're an air sign. So it might be too freezing cold, right? You want to instead tap into the wisdom of the heart when you're talking to other people, when you're dealing with other people. So keep that in mind, and happy full moon in Gemini. And last but never least, Pisces. So Pisces, this full moon in Gemini is hitting your fourth house of emotional security. It pertains to whatever makes you feel emotionally secure, really connected and aligned with the divine mother within yourself. Now, the fourth house traditionally pertains to home and family. It's your foundation. So you may also want to really complete a cycle domestically, right? Maybe you need to move, or maybe you need to spruce up your living arrangements, or maybe you need to connect with family, right? Get closer to family and forge and foster those deeper connections. But you want to basically focus this time on achieving inner harmony and also harmony domestically. You're taking action, ideally, in regard to your career, because you get Mars and the Sun both in your 10th house. So this is a really good time to go after your professional goals. What do you want to be known for? Because this is a really great time for you to make major strides professionally. Now, you get Saturn in Pisces in your first house. So you are, at this point, needing to really define your identity. Saturn likes definition. And you're going through this time in your life in which you're having to redefine your personality as well as your perception, right? Because how you perceive the world determines your personality. And if you want a new personal reality, well, you change your personality. And with Saturn in your first house, you're defining, right? So you're determining what it is that you want to be, or who you want to be. Who is your most authentic self? Who is V.2 version of you, right? So keep that in mind, Pisces. Personal growth and self-awareness is the name of your game. And let's see what wisdom you get from the tarot for your full moon in Gemini, Pisces. Wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces, wisdom for Pisces. Ace of Swords. So Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, it's potential, right? All the aces are potential. It's not like this is going to happen. Aces will say, you got to do this. And with swords, you got to think in a different way. The same thinking that got you into a situation can't get you out of it, right? So you want to think of things in a different way. This is a new mental cycle. So what new thoughts are you thinking that are going to affect your emotional state, which you're then going to broadcast and attract to you whatever it is that you are broadcasting. So think the thoughts that feel good so you feel good emotionally. And if anything's been problematic lately, if anything's been difficult, then you might need to just clear the decks, no pun intended, and allow yourself to get a breath of fresh air and see things from another perspective. The Ace of Swords is all about new ideas. So this could be a matter of it being a new identity for you. It could be a matter of there's a new project that you have that you want to implement, but start something new when it comes to thinking. Think in a new way and get new results. And happy full moon. And there you have it, folks. That's a wrap for your full moon in Gemini horoscopes and tarotscopes. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and share the video if you're so inclined. And if you are interested in a reading to find out what's going on in your life, or a gift certificate for the holidays for your recipient, well, check out my website, psychicsun.com. I'm also going to be holding new rolling classes, rolling admission. It's going to be subscription for my classes. They're going to be on Thursday. It's going to be called Thursday Night Lights, to light you up with knowledge, inspiration, and even help if you are needing any. So check that out. The link is in the description below. I hope you all have an amazing full moon in Gemini. I will see you soon.